You, you had a pretty rough upbringing, right? Didn't have a whole lot of
Yeah.
opportunity or privilege in general,
Yeah.
right? And I think a lot of the Malay community probably doesn't realize that these days because I feel like you don't talk about it very much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you expand on some of that a little bit? Give some context?
Yeah, I mean, like growing up, I guess it's super dark. So just warning. But yeah, growing up, my mom was like super overprotective. I think she had like OCD in some way. Just I couldn't even like cross the street of my like suburban, non-busy street without her like watching and whatever. But she had a degenerative joint disorder, I think that's the term, called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So, when I was younger, she like could walk a bit, but it hurt. And then kind of just as it went on, it degraded to the point where she couldn't walk without crutches. And then she couldn't even really walk with crutches because it hurt so bad. She was like in a wheelchair. And then she was in like so much pain where she was like debating getting her legs like amputated because it was like that fucking bad. Because her legs, like, it's just so much pain and always like dislocating and like it just brutal. And yeah, and then it was, I guess, 2009. I was 10. I remember it like vividly because it was like, um, I was with my friend and we were trying to see if we could have like a sleepover. And we were watching excitedly out the window. My mom's talking to his mom. And then all of a sudden she like kind of like just fell forward onto his mom and like whatever. I remember like running across the street and like trying to get his dad to help out. Like, oh, hey, like my mom, like she's, you know, passing, like I think she's dying, whatever. He was super dismissive. And then, it turns out she had just a sudden brain aneurysm and was on life support for a couple of days. And then ultimately, like the decision had to be made to pull the plug and she passed away. Um, Yeah, and then like there's like other stuff too. I don't I don't know how to segue that without it being really awkward.
No, that I mean it not an easy thing to segue,
Yeah.
but I think that that had an impact on your melee stuff too, to where I know that you had to take a lot of risks to compete in this thing. And the
Yeah.
one thing that I want to point out in particular was like the crossroads that you had, where I know your grandparents gave you some money.
Yeah.
Can you explain that whole thing and how that led into tournaments?
Okay, yeah. So I guess for other context is like, losing your partner is very depressing. My dad ended up drinking a ton and he developed like a really, really, really bad drinking problem. But yeah, I when I turned 18, I got $2,000 from my grandparents that they'd been saving up since I was born, just however much a year, put in an account, and just I get it when I'm 18. I guess this is not the best like chronological order to go by. Um, I guess I'll just I guess okay. So it was like 2019, and I was at Battle of BC, and I got some like bad news. Don't care to go into like what it is. It's just like whatever, just not worth sharing. But ultimately, bad news. And mid tournament after my pool, it's like in the evening, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't compete. I don't want to. I'm done. So I announced I was retiring like mid tournament, and I didn't go to bracket the next day. I just went on a hike in Vancouver, just whatever. And then effectively, I got home. I'm like, I'm just done. And I was making resumes to sending them out to like whatever places I could because I didn't have any qualifications. Because life stuff was going bad. My dad was drinking, and it was like very apparent. Like, I need to start making some like actual income to either just support myself or to support like me and my family and whatever. So I'm doing that, not playing Melee for a couple months, and then Gommel's rolling around, and I did not plan on going at all. And then my sponsor, because they ran Gommel at the time, they're like, "Hey, like, can you please like just come, like, we're your sponsor. Can you come to Gommel?" And like, obviously, it's like, well, yeah, like I will go to Gommel. But even in my head, then I was like, I'm just gonna play Falco and just not care and just whatever. Like, I don't have that dog in me anymore to play. And then the bracket comes out and it has me playing Kalindi into Hungry Box. And I played Principau all the time. Like he was like one of the main guys I played. So I was like, okay, me and Kalindi's a 50-50. I've always wanted to play Hungry Box just for the chance. At this point, he's the number one player in the world. I just want to like see how that goes. So I'm gonna play for like 4 days leading up to the event and just like see what I can do. I go to Gommel. I beat Kalindi game five last stock hardly. And then I play Hungry Box game five. He's best in the world. I lose, but it was like a performance of just like, oh, wow. Like he's been the undisputed number one player in the world for a while. No one expected me to do that well, especially because I was retired. So it was like, okay, wow, like that's impressive. And then in losers, I beat SB. I beat Lucky game five. And then I beat Plup, which is my first. I guess I beat Shootout a couple, but like my first like real like massive win was Plup there, and I make top eight, lose to Wizzy the next day, but like performance that people were going crazy for. Summit was coming up. Sorry, this is long winded.
No,
It's a
no,
lot,
no. This is good. This is good.
but yeah, Summit was coming up. And people wanted me to campaign for it. But in Canada, we only did one person at a time because we didn't want to split the Canadian vote, especially with the Canadian dollar being so bad. So I had already told None, hey, you go for it like months prior or whatever. And I didn't want to go back on my word there, even though people were saying like you would probably just get voted in after this performance. And I said, you know what? I will do a donation goal to go to the Mango. It's a week before Summit. And if I win it or get second or I'm the highest placing person who's not in Summit, then I will qualify. So I'll do a donation goal. And a couple weeks go by. My donation goal did not go super successfully. Shout outs to whoever supported it. But I think it was like an $1,000 donation goal. And I hit like $400. And then I was just like, okay, like there are people who want me to go and try my best. This isn't the best decision, but like it's the most like hype I've ever had around me. I'm gonna dig into that like $2,000 I was given by my grandparents. Not a great decision, but I'm just gonna like take it out, fill in the rest of the donation goal myself, and just see what I can do. Put up one last hurrah, and then be done with melee. Um, I do that, and I get second at Summit behind Johnny, who was already in Summit, or second at the Mango, and I qualify for Summit. The next week, I go to Summit. I don't do great, but it's like I'm at fucking Summit. Like that's like every melee player's dream. Like essentially, I like hit it big. Like I accomplished what I set out to do when I was a teenager. So I'm stoked no matter how I did. I go home the next day. I take a red eye. We get home at I think 8 a.m. and my dad's like bedroom door is closed, and I'm like, okay, that isn't good. He should be at work right now. And I find out that like I think it was like the day after I left, like 2 weeks before I came back, that he lost his job and had just been like drinking in his room nonstop for the entirety of my trip there. So when I see him, I'm like asking him about it, and like one thing leads to another, and I don't know what it is. I think he was having some kind of like psychosis break. I don't know, something like crazy with just like how much he'd been drinking. And it just ended up in like an altercation where like he like grabbed a knife and he's like, threatening to like I guess like hurt himself and whatever. And I had to like physically like, rip it out of his hands. Uh just really like traumatic situation. And then we kept arguing and he kicked me out. So I went and I stayed at my friend's house for a night, and then I went to my other friend's house for like a week. Um and eventually I moved back in, but only for like a couple months because I got like an offer from my friend to move in permanently. The rent was super cheap, like $400 a month. And like I was hardly even making that at the time, but I had to get out, and I bet on myself and I like moved in there, and I'm like, cool, I'm going to pursue this thing, try my best and see if I can like make this work. I'm going to give it my all. And then COVID hits and my internet isn't good enough to compete online. So I moved out of that situation, bet it all on myself just to be held back by like my internet, basically. Um, and Eventually I was able to compete online. And then like, of course, like online, there's like that whole thing. I was bitter. I think it's understandable now after I say this why I was bitter about people not counting it, because I had, pretty not uprooted my life. I needed to make something happen, but like I really bet it all on my ability to do this thing. And then it was taken away from me. And then when I finally was able to like do it, it was just waved off. Oh, this doesn't fucking matter. So frustrating. And I'm over it now, but like Genuinely, like, for years, it was just, like, such a source of, like, hatred in me and, like, bitterness. Um, and I mean, like, I feel like if a lot of people in my shoes, it would be the same, but yeah, it was so fucking frustrating. But ultimately, I'm over it now and it's all worked out. And somehow I'm, doing this full time still. And it worked out despite it being obviously probably not like, I mean, I don't even want to say it wasn't the smartest decision because, given my circumstance, but not, by the book, the smartest decision to bet it all on this thing.